Okay. Okay, we should be recording now. Okay, so all of you have all of you managed to experience trying out being the host of Zoom before? Have any of you tried being the host of a Zoom before? For the
Yes
teachers, I know
po.
most of them have tried. Okay, so Yoshi has, Chloe, Addie, Abigail. So you've all tried being a host for Zoom before. Even you, Arzen, even if it's not an actual meeting or actual class, maybe you've hosted for your family before. Yes. Okay, so all of you have some form, or at least most of you have some form of hosting while you're using Zoom. Now, okay, so just to begin with, when you're the Zoom host, usually you don't really need to ask the audience, but if you'd like to be sure, before every time you start a meeting, you have to check if your audio source is correct. So let me switch over to my screen for the computer because I don't want to use the share screen function just yet. Okay, so usually before we even start Zoom, we go to our audio settings. To bring that up, you go to the microphone, press the up arrow, then you go to audio settings. From here, you can select which audio, which speaker, and which microphone that you're using. Usually, if you're on a laptop, this is set to default. Now, if it's on default, it should be fine. But you should be able to see that there's audio coming in through the microphone. And then when somebody's speaking, you should be able to see it here. So you should be able to hear something, you should be and people should be able to hear something from you, including Zoom. So that's just one very important opening tip when you're hosting Zoom. Because sometimes not everyone can hear you properly. So that's why we ask right before we start our presentation. And because this is part of the class, I included that in the presentation because you guys need to double check audio before you actually start. It's the same with video. You can open video settings. It'll pop up here. So you change the camera, select the camera here. This camera, then this camera. I'm using my full screen as a camera, that's why it's there. You can also change it without opening the video settings. Just select the name of your camera here. Again, on the laptop, this is default to your camera that's already built into your laptop, so you don't need to worry about it. For those with computers, you need to double check and make sure that it's assigned to the webcam that you bought, or else it might be projecting nothing. There are also virtual backgrounds and filters, but I won't be using these. Wait, no, actually, let me try to see if I
You
can use
have to
these.
show them how to use that.
Yeah, I will. I just need to put something over here because I am not using a uh,
Background ID.
yeah, an actual person, so I can put a background there.
But that's you.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it's me, but you know.
You should teach the high schoolers or even kids who are interested how to make their own 3D models like that.
I will. I'm starting up a class for this eventually. Eventually. Okay, so if you go here, there is a choose virtual background. So let me switch over back to my OBS camera. Okay, so you can choose a virtual background. You can choose all of these filters. So either you can make it blurry, you can choose these built-in pictures. You can upload your own picture. So you just need to pick it over there. So for example, I wanted to be the blue screen, then you say you can have a green screen. But here's the thing, if I do this, I have problems. I have problems. Man, you pick the color if it's not accurate. Well, you can manipulate this to how you like it. Okay, so let me just switch over my camera to this one again. Then we go back to the background. Has to be blue. Oh no. Doesn't work because I'm using a 3D model. I'm so sorry. Doesn't work for me because it's a 3D model. But you guys get the gist. Gist of it at least a little bit.
Open your cam and then show it to them.
I am, but the problem is, it doesn't want to work uh, cause I'm using a virtual camera. Oh my god. Yes, delete. Yes, I do not have a green screen anymore. Ah, it's killing me. It killed me. It did not come back. Okay. Well, okay. That's just a few of the ways that we can use the background. Okay, so since I see most of us are already here, I see 15 people in here. We are going to learn how to project for now. So projection, and then later I'm gonna teach you stuff that's in while we're in projector. Okay, so this is screen share. Now usually before you even start the class, you have a lot of things open already. You're gonna have all these windows. Now it's important that you actually have the applications and the files that you're going to present running already. So I've chosen random videos from across our victorious days. So like the victorious song, the oath taking, the one of the 7 habits presentations, and a video. Also, by the way, in the browser, right now it's set to the victorious song, but I'll also be sharing how to present using Canva and Google Slides. Now, usually, before you even share the screen, for example, you're on a video, make sure that it's on full screen. Full screen, okay? So let me just put this over here, so you guys can see the demo. So when you make it full screen, when you start sharing the screen, for example, I'm sharing the screen here, you will see that it's just gonna cover everything. So if it's not gonna capture any of the windows up top, it's not gonna capture the windows not gonna capture your taskbar at the bottom. So make sure that you're selecting the window and then it's already full screen before you start presenting. To double check if you're sharing the right window, the application will have this green outline for the presenter. Now you're not gonna see it on my actual camera settings right now, but you're gonna see it as it's presented. For the viewer, there is no green outline, but for the presenter, there is a green outline. So let me show you what it looks like for the presenter. Okay, share screen. Again, this. They did share the right screen. Here. There is usually a green outline here. I think it's because how big my screen is, it removed it. But there's a green outline bordered around your entire presentation. Okay. So that's just one tip when you're presenting. Always have your applications in full screen, not a windowed screen like this, because it'll capture all of your settings, it'll capture the name of the file, and the very main window where you can minimize and interact with it. This actually distracts a lot of people. So you guys need to make sure that is closed or full screen. Okay, so that's just sharing using like a specific application. You can also share browser presentations if you guys are familiar with Google Slides. I have personally used Google Slides with all of you before. So share screen, look for your browser source, which is in my case it's Microsoft Edge. And then usually you don't let them see this screen. You're not supposed to let them see this screen. So again, like earlier, you have to make sure that you already press the present button. If you have if you're not sure how to for example, you only have one screen on your laptop, then you already started presenting, but it's a full screen. How do I get out of the full screens? Okay, let's go back here. On your laptop or Mac, if I remember, I'm not sure if it's the same for Mac, but on your Windows laptop, there should be like a Windows key. Now, the Windows key looks like a flag on your computer. Press that Windows key and it'll open your menu for you like this. That way, you can click back to Zoom, but your presentation stays full screen. So it's in full screen now. I can click back. And then from here, I can select it. I can select my full screen browser. And from there, I can present. So it's still full screen, but their students or your family members are not gonna see the taskbar that you use to select. They're not gonna see the crop corners at the up on the top because the menu is not there. Okay, so that's how to share in full screen. It's the same. It for when you're using like PDFs to present. In PDFs, you can see here that there is a maximize button usually. It's the same regardless if you're using Adobe Acrobat, Foxit, a browser to view it. There's a way to maximize and at least minimize most of the windows. Now, I'm not for PDFs, you don't really need to hide most of the windows, but it does give a lot more screen for people with smaller screens if you minimize the tray up here on top, because you know some people are going to be joining from their tablets and from their phones. So here it's zoomed in, stretched across the screen so they can see the biggest letters possible while keeping all the information within this. So it's all zoomed in. And if you need to look to zoom out, there's usually an option to zoom out when you hover over the bottom of your screen regardless of the PDF application. So this is just for so far we're just using Zoom to present. Now, I realize that there are people who love to draw on the screen. Have you noticed some of your classmates or some of the students drawing on screen and then you see their names of those who are drawing? Now, that's not good. Okay, so usually to address this, for example, let's start sharing a PowerPoint, but first let me fix the PowerPoint. So like how I explained to all of you, make sure that your PowerPoint is already presented in a big way. For now, I'm just gonna use the reading mode so it's easier for everyone, but I will select this now. Here you go. Now, you're gonna have people drawing all over the screen. Then you're gonna wonder, why are they drawing on the screen like this? And it's blocking the presentation, it's blocking what they were doing. Now, there's a way to stop them from doing that. Now, if you go here, you see see this? Look at my camera, please. Look at my camera, not the presentation of PowerPoint. You see that there's this menu that drops down. From here, you can see who's in the meeting. You can see who's in the chat, right? And you can even start sharing a new window. But we already know how to do those. But how do we stop whoever's drawing? If you go here to more, there are all these sub options. You're going to need to, this is usually enabled, you're going to need to press this to disable annotation for others. If you press that, nobody will be able to draw on your screen except for you. Only you as the host has the right to draw on the screen. But sometimes we don't even use this. So if you disable this, at least the kiddies that want to draw on the screen won't interrupt others. They won't block the screen for their classmates. Okay. Which brings us to another thing while we're in this screen. Sometimes you forget to press this, optimize for video clip in your sharing. From here, you can also enable it. So share sound, optimize for video clip. Now we would prefer that you use the optimize for video clip because that means no matter what you share on your screen, will always be smooth. It won't stutter, because if you don't have this clicked on and you only have share sound clicked on, sometimes when the video is presenting, it starts lagging for whoever's watching it. Now that's why we want to press optimize for video clip. Okay, so far we've interacted with the annotation, which is what you want to stop people, what you want to use to stop people from drawing on the screen, and optimize for video clip. For sharing sound mode, it's preferably you, but keep it to mono because usually at least this keeps the audio flat, so your classmates will not be left wondering why they only hear it on the left side or on the right side. So keep it to mono if it's set to stereo. Okay, which brings us back to this menu again. Here you can also see security. Now if you click security, it's gonna show you all of these options instead. So if for example, you already have all the participants, you only want to have 20 people inside, and then somebody publicly shared the link to join, or somebody shared the meeting and passcode publicly. To stop people from joining, just press lock meeting. I'm not gonna click it now, of course, because I want to keep this class open, but if you press lock meeting, nobody can join in anymore. Nobody will join in, and usually when somebody leaves, they won't be able to join again. Sometimes it changes according to Zoom's update, but from what I understand in today's update, if you leave the meeting, you won't be able to join again. Okay. Now, waiting room. You guys have experience being in a waiting room, right? Yes. Just let me know if I'm going too fast. Raise your hand if I'm going too fast in Zoom. You don't need to unmute. Raise your hand. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know if there's anything you don't understand. And I will get to you. I'll go over it again for a short while just to recap. But I think so far everyone's following, right? If you can chat me like feedback if you understand, please let me know. I'm waiting for somebody to chat if they can understand.
Yes, naintindihan po.
Okay. Just needed to make sure. I hope I'm not overloading. Well, anyway, so we're back here. We're still in security. Thank you for letting me know that you guys are still following. In security, you see all of these options. So allow participants to share screen, chat, rename themselves, unmute, start video, annotate on shared content. Now here, we already disabled annotation, but here you can also disable and enable annotation. share screen, if you enable this, if you click this on, you'll see that it'll have a check mark. That means it's activated. Now, if it's activated, the share screen, uh, people other than the host will be able to share screen. So if you guys notice on your Zooms, if you press the share screen, you should be able to. But I just want you guys to press it just so you see that you can, but not really to share screen because I'm still sharing screen with you guys. Okay, so I'm gonna disable that. So now participants or whoever's in the meeting that is not a host or a co-host won't be able to share screen. Now, you remember back to our movie zoom ins, our volt ins, our movie volt ins, movie screening. Now, if you leave this checked, if you leave chat activated, for people who are watching on mobile devices like phones and tablets, the chat blocks the bottom part of the entire screen. Now, instead of being able to enjoy the movie, all they see are their classmates chatting. So, if you're showing a video, it's best to disable the chat. Now, a lot of you will notice that if you have your chat open, if you try to send anything, it's not gonna send, or sometimes you're not even allowed to type down anything. Now, this is the only workaround we have for now for those who are very talkative when presenting videos. So, if you have somebody that won't stop chatting, that doesn't really want to pay attention, if you disable the chat, they're gonna have a harder time bothering their classmates. Sadly, though, even if the chat is disabled, sometimes they can still private message outside of Zoom. So that is outside of our control. So the most that we can do to limit the experience of distraction for those on mobile devices is disabling chat. So let me re-enable that. Okay, so rename themselves. I know a lot of students who start out having their real name, but then somewhere along the line they change their name to Pepe the Frog, Sans. I see a lot of other characters from anime and from other cartoons, and then they rename themselves that, but we wouldn't understand who they are anymore. We don't know who they are anymore because they changed their name. Now you can disable it. Now, whatever names you have now will be the names that you have until the end of the meeting. Whatever, even the nicknames, the names that you have in Zoom are not exactly the names of your accounts because you're free to rename yourself whatever you want to be called in Zoom. These are not necessarily your account names, so if you change your name to something that isn't your account name, you will be stuck with that name for the rest of Zoom. The Zoom meeting, I mean. So let me re-enable that. So that's just another functionality. Allow participants to unmute themselves. Another very important thing when you're presenting is actually disabling this. When you disable this, nobody will be able to unmute themselves. So those who were chatting me, like Yoshi earlier, they won't be able to unmute themselves. Only hosts and co-hosts can unmute themselves with this open. Now, why are we doing this? Because sometimes students accidentally love leaving their microphones open and they have a lot of background noise. For maybe they're talking to someone, maybe there's a TV playing in the background, but you can't exactly control what sounds come into their microphone. So you can disable this so when they go muted, when they mute, they won't be able to unmute again. You can also mute people. Mute people. So for example, I can mute myself, but I'm not going to do that. I can mute myself using this button if you hover in the participants. Even if you're not in this screen, even if you're not presenting anything, if you press the participants button, you will see that there is a mute button there. And for those with microphones that are very noisy, you can mute them with distracting microphones, I mean. So that's just mute and unmute. Start video. When you press start video, it means when participants join the room, they can open their cameras. Cameras as in showing their face. Now, if you disable this, everybody who was sharing their camera to show their face will actually stay sharing their camera. But if they joined after you disable this, they won't be able to open their camera anymore. So maybe use this if you don't want if your presentation start to get laggy, so everybody can see the optimized video clip. Because when a lot of people have their cameras open, it eats a lot of your computer and it eats a lot of your Wi-Fi. So you can disable the start video, so everybody is stuck to their profile pictures, and so the video that you're presenting won't lag, or the presentation you're presenting won't lag because of how many things it's running in the background. So these are just the ones under security. And for example, I press stop share. If you press security, it's still there. It's still there. Is everybody following so far? I hope everyone is. Actually, that's a big that's actually a speed run of everything. I did not want to keep this too long. I just really want to share. I just really wanted to share. As you can see, instead of a hovering screen for the participants, it's gonna pop up here in the right side. If you're in this screen, the chat's also gonna pop up here, and it's permanently embedded into your Zoom meeting control panel. So you see here the people, and then it's gonna be stuck here. Now you can also hide these by pressing this. So all you see are the people chatting and the people chatting in the Zoom meeting. But you can click it again to bring it back. Okay. So far I'm glad that you guys are still with me. Okay, so now let's go to participants. This one's a bit extra. Now, I notice a lot of students and parents asking for the Zoom meeting and passcode, but we actually have a link that we sent that if you click it, you automatically join without needing to input the passcode. Now, the way we generate that is we press copy invite link, and then if you look at chat right now, it copies the invite link going to the Zoom. So this is usually a link that you can find in the invites that we send in the group chats. Now if you click this, it should automatically bring you to the Zoom meeting. So you shouldn't need to worry about inputting the meeting ID and the meeting passcode after you do that. So this is an extra tip. Okay. Now there's also this something called mute all. I'm sure you're all familiar with the mute all function, because sometimes we have to mute all of you when we're presenting. Now you can mute all current and new participants and press yes. That means all of you will become muted if some of you had your microphones open. Now in this mute all, you can also disable this. If it's not checked, it means anyone who joins or anyone who was in the meeting currently won't be able to unmute anymore. They won't be able to unmute. That way, there are no distractions. So the whole time you're presenting, nobody will take over your voice. Nobody will be louder than you while you're presenting.
Make a recap later.
Don't worry. I'm gonna make a recap, and I'll also share this recording of the Zoom that we're doing today. I'll be posting it on YouTube as an unlisted video, so please wait for the unlisted video to be sent in the Victorious High group chat, okay? And also for the teachers in the teachers group chat, I will send it there as well. Okay, so that is the invite button covered, and that is the mute all and new participants function. So now I will allow you guys to unmute yourselves again. So by clicking this, when I press yes, it'll also mute everyone at the moment, but you guys will be able to unmute yourselves now. Okay. Here's another tip. So I'm pretty sure a lot of the students are familiar with when we say that this chat is monitored, right? A lot of you guys know that we say we monitor this chat. Now, with all this going on, we have a lot of chat history now. You wonder, how do we monitor that? In Zoom, regardless if it's a paid or a free Zoom, there's this option here at the bottom right corner in the chat section. So if you don't have chat open, just press chat. It should pop up here. So there's an emoji, there's a send file, but there's also these three dots called more. Now if you press more, participant can chat with no one, host, co-host, everyone, and anyone directly. You can change how the chat behaves. But there's also this functionality called save chat. Now if you press save chat, it should save a copy of the Zoom meetings chat to your computer. Now I don't know where it's saved. It should have popped up. Okay, here you go. Chat save, show in folder. As you can see here, it saved the chat meeting. And here we can track who chatted to who and who private message to the host and what time it happened. So these are all monitored. So if there are students, we have proof in their chat history. We have proof of chat history if they weren't behaving in the chat, or if they purposely tried to distract their classmates or spam in the chat. We don't really, we don't mind kids or students or anyone actually spamming the chat. Our only problem is if the spamming is enough to distract the others, and if what they're talking about is really not related to the topic that's being discussed in Zoom. Now, if it's not related to the topic, of course, that'll also potentially distract even those who are paying attention. Because then they start talking about Roblox, Minecraft, anime, cartoons, books. There's all after our Zooms. Usually, there's still some time where they can chat, but don't chat during the presentation. Oh, hello, Denzel. Did you just join now? Don't worry, there's a recap and a recording of this later. Okay, so I think that covers most of the functionality that we really need to uh, have in Zoom. Now, I'll also share this bonus, so not everyone will have this, only if you have really big meeting rooms like here with Victorious. But I'm gonna show you guys how breakout rooms work as well. This is the last one. The other buttons are self-explanatory. Like record, it records the meeting if you don't use an application like what I'm using now, which is OBS. So this records the meeting for you. But let's go to the breakout rooms. Now, lately we've been asking a lot of the students to join breakout rooms. Now, why is that? It's because we want to make it a bit more personal, and so kids of the same grade are grouped together, more or less the same grade, so you guys can relate to each other easier than a really big mixed group where it's getting spammed and then one host can't exactly cover all of you. So you usually make 3 to 5 meeting rooms. So for now, I'll just make 3. Then we let the participants choose the room. Now we can assign automatically, we can assign manually, but we prefer to let you guys join so you can join your specific grade level. So let me create the breakout rooms now. Then if I open all rooms, you guys will see that the breakout rooms popped up. Breakout rooms button at the bottom popped up. Now you can choose to join room 1, room 2, room 3. So this is usually preschool, grade school, high school. Now, if we have them all specifically in a single room, you guys will be able to see that there's at least one host in each room. So, the three co-hosts in the that are working with the host, they each take over one room. That way, more students get engagement with their classmates and with the teachers. We do that so we can talk to everyone and not just one by one where it takes too much, and then the high schoolers are getting impatient, the grade schoolers are getting impatient, but because with how many preschoolers we have, they still haven't gotten their turn. So this was the workaround, and it also helps you guys, gives you like a space. So even after classes, we leave this open, the breakout rooms open to you guys. So if you guys want to chat with your peers more, this is a place where you can engage without, worrying that there are kids, younger kids, or children or other parents joining in and talking. So these are for the mostly for the high schoolers and grade schoolers, for like a place for them to chat, because they don't really have engagement like in regular school. And even if there was regular school again, this is the only place where they can talk to their classmates without needing to make a Zoom themselves. So we leave this open for everyone. Now I shared this because this is how we see it as a host. Like I said, not everyone will be able to do this depending on their Zoom account level, but this is what it looks like. And then you're as the host, you're free to join in any room at any time as well. Not only do the students get the ability to join which room that should be for them, the host can also join whichever room is going on. So the host can jump from one room to another room to another room a lot faster compared to the students, because students need to confirm, but the meeting participants need to confirm, while the Zoom host can just join in automatically. So we do this to make sure that we can engage with everyone within a reasonable time, because sometimes it just takes too long. Okay, so I'm gonna do a short recap. We already covered almost everything in Zoom, and that's just how we present. So we assign the audio, so we assign the microphone, our speakers. Then you can go to audio settings. You can check your volumes, if you can be heard, if you can hear people. So this is the settings. If you notice that your camera's not popping up, check and select which camera you're using. It depends on what you're actually using. It's not popping up anymore, but okay, let's keep that there. So you can select which camera you're using. If you go to security, lock meeting, stop people from coming in and leaving, enable waiting room. If you enable waiting room, people who try to join the meeting, if they weren't already in the meeting, will have to wait for you to let them in. Hide profile pictures. You can hide profile pictures and keep it to everyone's names. Share screen. Let everyone share screen. Chat, disable chat or enable chat. Rename themselves. Change the name in the meeting, not change their account name. Unmute themselves if they're noisy, if they're not noisy, or if they want to speak up. Start video to improve presentation and video, sharing video. So the computer's not running anything in the background. Okay. And then go to participants, the invite button, copy invite link or copy invitation to share with everyone so they can join without needing to input the meeting ID and the meeting passcode. Mute all, allow participants to unmute themselves, or mute everyone and not allow them to unmute themselves. Share screen, make sure your applications are already running. So if regardless it's a PowerPoint, if it's a PDF, if it's in a browser, if it's in a video, no matter what application, you'll be able to find it here, and then you can share it from there specifically. And make sure to optimize per video clip. Okay. So I close this again. And then breakout rooms. You can make breakout rooms and then let participants join any specific room. The host can also, by the way, assign people to specific breakout rooms. So, for example, let's pretend Addie is grade 5. We assign her to grade school. We just pretend. This is just a pretend. Room 2 is called grade school. We assign her to grade school. So host can assign. Okay, so that's the breakout rooms. Chat monitoring. Save chat. It'll automatically save chat. And when it says chat save, you can press show in folder so you can see that it's saved automatically somewhere in your computer. You can move it around once it's already saved, but it'll save it to a default location first in your computer, and then you'll be able to monitor the chat from there. It'll show you something like this on a notepad, like who chatted to who, and what was chatted here at the bottom. What they typed down is at the bottom. And yeah, pretty much everything. Just remember the tip of keep making sure that the presentation is already full screen. For example, this one is already full screen. Oh my gosh, it clicked out. I did not realize why. I don't know why. It clicked out. Okay, it's clicking out. I don't know why. Let's change the let's pretend that this is already the full screen. There you go. It'll it's the full screen already, and because you want not to have as little to no distractions whatsoever. And yeah, that's actually pretty much everything that you need to present in Zoom more effectively. So if you guys have any questions, please bring them up now. Send me a chat, unmute yourself. But remember to give way to your classmates if they already started asking first. Teachers as well. If you have questions, please unmute yourselves or chat in the chat box if you have any questions.